So we always like to kick off the event with somebody who has really a big picture grasp of this opportunity. Back when Dan and I were still pursuing our PhDs, when we hadn't even really connected on opening a facility, I met Colin, went to his event, and was just amazed that somebody was out there really talking about active aging and this growing older adult opportunity that I saw and that I realized, but nobody else seemed to get around me, other than some other researchers, in this field that I was really learning from and were being mentored by. Really, as a whole, the fitness industry wasn't getting it, and I was a little frustrated by that. And so Colin was really the only resource. And so while Dan and I kind of went one route, and that is, yes, we decided we're going to go and get PhDs and really kind of go that education route, Colin really represents that heart of you guys, which is an entrepreneur. He saw the opportunity way before anybody else did, really. And so when we talk about active aging, you know who really started that? Colin, right? He really got us thinking about, no, it's not necessarily about senior fitness, old school stereotypes. It's about this new wave of aging that's happening. And not just here, but around the world, right? Hopefully you guys understand, we're not talking about just some local thing. This population aging is a global event that is affecting almost every aspect of society. In fact, one of my favorite new books I got turned on to by Colin and one of the speakers that he has at his conference, which is The Longevity Economy. And it is a book written by the founder of the MIT Age Lab. And it's just so fascinating to see and to think about how much society, not just fitness business, how much our society and culture is going to shift and change as this older population continues to grow and grow and grow. And it's an opportunity that we need to be on right now, and that's why it's not a niche. Right? You say niche, I say niche, right? Niche sounds better, right? It's a huge opportunity. Colin Milner spends his time literally traveling the globe, being invited to speak at different events way outside of fitness. He was, I think it was last year, you were involved in the World Economic Forum, correct? The World Economic Forum he was invited to take part in. He just has a prestigious list that I can't even begin to go through of places that he goes and speaks and invited to and participates in. So he really, probably more than anybody else, understands from a population perspective the opportunity that aging is presenting. People think about aging a lot as this is a bad thing, correct? These are barriers, these are issues. But Colin sees this for what it is. It's an opportunity. And so I'm really excited to have Colin Milner here with us today to really kick off this event in an amazing way and talk about some transformative trends in active aging. Please, everyone, welcome Colin Milner.
Thank you, Cody. Thanks, buddy. Well, good morning. Before we start, why don't we just stand up and, just stretch a little bit here. By the way, I started 36 years ago, a month ago, in the fitness industry at $4 an hour. So I'm really excited to see that you guys are here at what, $10 an hour? No. All right, so let's just stand up and let's just start clapping your hands. Over your head. Come on. Stomp your feet. Louder. Louder. Come on. Okay. You can sit down now. I just wanted the continuation of that standing ovation. Thank you. So, for those of you, and that's very gracious of Cody. What a very nice introduction. Almost brought me to tears, or was it that, I had too much to drink last night? No, either way. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about opportunity. You're going to learn throughout the whole two-day event about exercise, about functional training, all of that. I'm not going to talk about that stuff. I'm talking about opportunity and where you may be able to go in the future. Not all of this may apply to you. You may go just one of these trends hit, but that trend could completely change your business and what you do today. So with all of that said, let's just jump right in because there are 10 trends and there's a lot to talk about. But before we actually talk about any of that, the first thing that we need to do is understand what active aging is. For some people, they think it's exercise. Well, that's a portion. Really, at the end of the day, it comes down to 4 simple words: fully engaging in life. So how do you help your customers fully engage in life within all areas of wellness? And we'll talk about that. But you need that as the foundation because we're not talking about just fitness. Matter of fact, our health and fitness industry started as health clubs, not fitness clubs. Okay? Matter of fact, they started as spas, which were kind of fun, actually. So anyway, I digress. So today we're going to look at 10 transformative trends, and at the end of the day, really how these trends could impact you, your clients, and what are you going to do about it. None of this stuff matters if you do nothing. So what are you going to do? What are you going to take? How are you going to implement it? So let's just jump right in because we have 60 minutes to change the world. By the way, it was very exciting at this, when I first started and people were talking about the older population. It's a very special population. You remember that? We're talking about niche. We're talking about a special population. Well, they're very special. And the reason is that today, 1 out of 2 people that are adults in the U.S. are over the age of 50, which, by the way, is not a senior population, but for some reason we want to define for some of us that age. And 70% of the disposable income is in their hands. So they are a very special population, one that actually has great opportunity for you. But it all starts with our perceptions. Can anyone here, and this is going to be interactive, so put your hands up. Just one hand is all that you need. Feel free to answer. Wait, can anyone tell me why this man is changing our business? Does anyone know who this man is? This is Fajit Singh. I may mispronounce his name. He completed the Toronto Marathon at the age of 100. Okay? How many of you are planning to run the marathon at 100? Okay. Why he's special is because at that time, the Director General for the World Health Organization came out and said, we need to change the way we view aging. We need to start looking at things differently. If someone can run a marathon at 100, our capabilities are far greater than what we thought. And really, that's what we have to offer our clients, is to embrace their potential. So if we're actually going to change our perceptions, the first thing we need to do is to start with what is the actual definition of old? Well, according to research from the American Society on Aging, it is basically when you lose your independence. It's not so much about age, but it's about capabilities. The word functional aging becomes crucial as you move forward. So if 79% of people that were surveyed said that they reach old age and that they can no longer do this, that is how they define being old. Is that the majority of the population? Well, the reality is, thankfully, it's not. 8 out of 10 people, 70 plus, actually can take care of themselves on their own. So, this image of frail, disabled individuals really is one of the myths that we need to break down. Now, are there challenges? Absolutely. Are there challenges to being young? Absolutely. So no matter what age group we're talking about, there are challenges, but there's also huge opportunity to engage in life and get the most out of it. That's why Sarah Harper at the Oxford Institute of Aging sees this as a new stage of life. And one of the reasons why this is crucial to you is if you're viewing the older market, and it is a market, through the old lens of burden, of frailty, of missed opportunities, really your success will only be so much. But if you view it through a new lens, and that is of potential, and we'll go through this a little bit further, the way you respond to potential is completely different as opposed to responding to health issues, illness, and so forth. So she sees this as a new stage of life around active adulthood. So with that said, the very first question for you to think about is, what happens when 85% of the population between 40 to 90 do not see themselves as old? How will they challenge society, and how will that change the model and opportunities that are in front of you? As opposed to serving old people and seniors programs, we are now seeing a new vision of aging. And that's why in 2017, this photo really kind of is representative of the change that is occurring. In 2017, the top consumer trend in the EU, and probably globally, was a changing narrative around aging. Why? Because the boomers are getting older, and what's it always been for the boomers? It's about me, okay? And we have numbers, and we're changing the conversation. So, with that said, we're moving from images like this, not at your age, to images like this. Now, all of this has a very significant impact on your business. How? Because we are seeing a new normal. The things that people used to think of as wants for the young are now embraced on a regular basis by your customers. So as you're working with your customers, the first thing to do is to help them understand their actual potential and where they can go and what they want to do. People say, I'm going to travel when I retire. Well, what if you're not fit? You're going to climb the Great Walls of China, or Great Wall of China? Are you going to actually go up the stairs of Notre Dame? How are you actually going to achieve that without your health and wellness and fitness? So we see a lot more of this today. So changing perceptions also change expectations. That's why this first portion is so crucial, because people are going to come in with very different expectations, and you've probably already started to see this or are seeing it on a regular basis. And that is, I expect that you use technology. Matter of fact, as boomers, who were the people who invented computers in the first place? Me! Well, I didn't really. It took me a long time to catch on, but I am versed in it. So we need new societal models to actually address this shift in our perceptions and our expectations. And that's why we actually see in 2015, how many of you have read this report by the World Health Organization on functional aging? Or actually report on aging and health. It's really repositioning health and aging. So this report came out and looked at a new definition of healthy aging. Can anyone tell me what healthy aging is? Oh, come on, you're in the field of healthy aging. You're in the field of fitness. Somebody out there cry to me and tell me. Kimberly. Hello, by the way.
The ability to keep doing the activities that we enjoy.
I have to strip, sorry. Ooh. When I was younger, I used to get a really good response. Now it's just like, before it was like, jeez. Oh, well. Go ahead, Kimberly. Pretty well. You know, the new definition of aging or healthy aging is more around being able to function, and it's less about the absence of disease. Being able to do the things you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. There was a second paper that came out, or guidelines that came out last year, and if you're working in the care industry, it talked about integrated care for older adults. Once again, at the heart of that was mobility and function. So, you know, let's look at it this way. We used to look at the older population all about training people with diseases. Heart disease, high blood pressure, all these kinds of things. That's one of the reasons they were called special. They had a disease. Well, the reality is, over the age of 65, 92%, almost everyone has some form of chronic health issue. So we're not so special anymore, are we? We're all the same. So what we're looking at, though, is going beyond that, because today you can actually function day to day, whether you have diabetes, high blood pressure, what have you, we're managing those health issues. Or at least we're trying to manage those health issues. But if you lose your ability and you cannot stand up, you have a problem. So the World Health Organization has embraced the definition of function. Now we just need to bring it into the medical system and so forth. But that's a much longer conversation. So here's what happens. I'm sure all of you know this. If you don't, you should. But if you don't, well, here's how you want to look at it. Between the ages of 35 to 70, we lose about 50% of our strength if you're inactive, and about 75% of our power. Once again, why is power important? Come on. Because we need it to get up, sit up. We need it to, if we want to prevent what? Falls. Thank you very much. So let me give you an example. Is there anyone? I promised Cody I'd do this. Is there anyone in this room that is about 180 pounds? Oh, come on. Can I steal you? If you wouldn't mind coming on up, feel free to run up. Do the Anthony Robbins thing. You know, run up to the stage. Don't come out this way, though. I'm not giving you a big hug, but come on up. Don't. Okay, so I'm going to give you a really quick example of what this looks like in real life, because we talk to people and we say, you lose 50% of your strength. So what? Well, this is so what. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, are you, you look like you're a fit, healthy young man.
And an old man, too.
And an old man, too. I like that. Okay, Mike, I'm going to get you to mount me.
Do what?
Mike, I'm not that kind of guy.
Well, I'm not sure.
You know, so I was in Russia doing this, and actually I said to the gentleman, just hop up like a piggyback, right?
Okay.
And the guy tried jumping over me. There was something lost in translation. So anyway, Mike, that's it. Okay, curl your legs up a little bit more, and grab on so that you don't,
Are you gonna jump?
Okay, so this was something that I saw many years. I think Mike's kind of getting, well, anyway. So think about it this way. If Mike and I weigh the same, which we don't, okay, but if we did, and Mike hops up on me, what have I done? I've lost 50% of my strength. Now, do you think I'm going to be able to walk around all day long with Mike and me? Okay, running to catch a bus. That's how people run when they have Mike in them. Taking out the garbage, playing with the grandkids. Okay, I'll drop you down there. Thanks, Mike. Let's give Mike a hand. Okay. As I said to Cody, I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't found anything better to get the message across. And that is basically Mike took away my strength. Your job is to get Mike off of me. So when you speak to your customers next time, and you're speaking about strength training, just say, you're here to get Mike off. All right, maybe not. That might restrict your capabilities. Anyway, the other thing that you have to have is you have to have a little bit of fun. I think we're living in a world that we're a little too serious now. But anyway, so because of that, Today we see this is our customer base, okay? And I think that we have a challenge in the fitness industry because we've been selling something that few people can achieve. And when I say they can achieve it, they look at the newsstand and they see the magazines and they see that you got to be fit to be fit. Anyone ever run across that? Where the reality is, as we get older, it's more important for us, like brushing our teeth to keep our gums healthy, it's more important for us to maintain our function. So with that said, one of the things you may want to look at is how you position your programs, your products, your services to a market who's looking to maintain their function as opposed to try and be something that maybe they aren't not capable of, but they aren't willing to put in the time to achieve in general. Now, when we talk about function, though, part of the challenge is we always, and I say always, but this is a generalization, but many times we're speaking about physical. But with this segment, and with all of us actually, we're talking about function as physical, cognitive, and social function. So as you look at how you are delivering on functional aging, what are you doing in all of these different areas? Because 87% of the population in the US want to age in place, they want to age in home. What's their challenge? If they don't have the capacity to do so, they have a problem. And you are part of the solution for them, not having to spend a lot of money to move in to somewhere that they may or may not want to go, okay? So, with that said, our goal is to work along the continuum, no matter where people are, and move them back towards healthy, active aging. So, I'm not telling you anything you don't know yet, but we're getting there. So, all of this is basically lining it up for one simple thing, and that is our expectations today are different. Our expectations of you are going to be and will be different. So how are you filling that expectations gap? That's the first opportunity. So,
Happy birthday.
This is so exciting.
I wrapped it myself.
A wallet. What's this for?
For your cash.
I just use my BMO app. See?
Well, what about your credit cards?
They're on my phone too. Look, I can even pay bills or send money. It is incredible.
I'll just take it back. It's no big deal.
Oh, no, after you... why? Do you have a receipt?
That feeling you get when your phone becomes your wallet? That's the BMO effect.
shifting expectations, okay? Really simple. Matter of fact, I probably could have just shown that, had a cocktail, and we would have wrapped that section up. But the shifting expectations are what is actually changing models globally. Whether it's the workplace, whether it's technology, whether it's fitness, whether it's health care, shifting expectations are driving change. But to make this change actually palatable for the population, that's my big word, by the way, I haven't used that in a long time, palatable. We need to look at how we create a design that is actually appealing to people. And it's called by Dr. Joseph Coughlin, as Cody was mentioning, Transcendent Design. Any of you familiar with Transcendent Design? No? Oh, Cody is? Well, damn, I'm glad you are. Okay, so Transcendent Design is based on one of the trends that is happening right now, where people are actually foregoing spending money on a lot of these expensive things, unless you got a lot of cash, and actually spending it on experiences. But the question is, how do you create that experience within what you do? Instead of someone just coming in, by the way, this is a trainer that I used to use. I would come in, sit down, and I'd go, all right, we're ready? I'll be in a minute. Okay. Okay. Coffee in hand, bagel in the other. So you're ready to work out? Okay, this is why you fired her after the first day. That wasn't Transcendent Design, okay? That was a different kind of experience.
This
this magic moment, so different and so new, was like any other. Until I looked at you, and then it happened. Oh, it took me by surprise. I knew
We all
that
drive. Some just for the fun of it.
For some, that's transcendent design. It's putting the fun back into things, okay? Making it so that we actually enjoy it. Or as Dr. Coughlin says, how do we excite and delight our customers? You know, whether it is the programming, is your programming fun? Or do you have someone at the front of the room going, okay, I'm dating myself there, aerobics, yeah. High impact aerobics. When I first started, it was concrete floors. It was excellent for the trainers. You know, that's why so many of them now come to you. Anyway, how do you excite and delight your customers? Okay, a great example of that, even before it opened, is Jimmy Buffett's retirement community that's opening up in Daytona Beach. He's opening up 3 of them, and there's so many people that are already excited about just being a parrot head in the warm weather, as opposed to going into the perception of what a retirement community is, okay? They see themselves as having fun in this environment, and that the environment is fun. So how do you actually make your environment fun? Each and every one of you have a different environment. You may not have an environment. You may be going into the home. So how do you make your person that you are working with enjoy you? It's kind of an interesting comment, isn't it? Enjoy you. Do other people enjoy you? Maybe that's the first question to ask. How do you create an environment that people can see themselves in? Now, I always thought it was really interesting teaching yoga in a room that had 4 white square walls. You know, kind of a little bit of an insane asylum thing going on with the yoga. But, you know, once again, creating the environment. Just lights can change the environment, okay? Having people with virtual reality on now can change the environment, okay? Giving people a wow factor. I only did that the first time. Exciting, isn't it? But how many of you are using virtual reality in your yoga classes? Why not? How many of you are using virtual reality in your spinning classes, your cycling classes? And why not? 1. Next time we convene, I'll bet you that there'll be more and more and more. This is where the experiential part of things are going. For people who cannot get out, VR can also be a significant boost from a social aspect of being able to get out into the world without actually leaving their home. But the goal is to leave your home first. So, with all of that said, you know, just going old school, having some fun stuff that you used to do when you were kids. You know, I mean, how many of you have implemented hopscotch? Excellent. My daughter just loves watching me do hopscotch. It's like 3 hops flop, okay? I'll get better. But this group actually in New York does everything from dodgeball to hopscotch to you name it. Why? Because it's fun. It's fun, okay? So once again, transcendent design is all about exciting and delighting your environment, your customer, and yourself. Are you excited about you? And if you aren't, how do you change that? Are your staff excited? One of the things that, you know, when I first got into the business, you know, the owner of the facility that I worked at said, when you walk out that door, you are a rock star. Problem is, if you're not, you get back in here. Because people aren't paying to see somebody moan and groan. They're paying for you to make their day, okay? And that's why what we are offering started as personal training, but in my mind, it's moving into a whole nother realm, and that is about personalization, not personal training, but personalization, and I'll show you what I mean. The reality is that no two people age the exact same way or at the exact same time or rate. You know, our lifestyles are different, our health is different, our upbringing is different, our culture is different, the list goes on and on and on. But yet we keep wanting to give many people a one-size-fits-all program, a one-size-fits-all solution. So personal training and personalization, to me, is, of course, the answer to it. Here are two individuals aging at a very different rate, and Patrick Stewart is older. Okay? Why? Lifestyle. Okay? As Dr. Richard Carmona, the former Surgeon General of the U.S., said, you know, we have our genes, but the genes are like little microprocessors that we can actually go in and reprogram through what we do, whether it's nutrition, exercise, or what have you. I think Keith Richards needs a little reprogramming. But hell, you know, from what they say, he pumps in new blood all the time, so what the heck? So with that said, you know, one of the areas that is going to be really interesting from the personalization end of things is wearables. Now, wearables where we are today is about tracking a lot of activity. Started as you know, pedometer and a heart rate monitor. When I was training to be a professional soccer player, you know, I used the heart rate monitor all the time. It was like, oh, wonderful, beep, beep, great. Okay, then I went to tracking everything. Your calories, you know, your food. You know, I had lunch downtown yesterday for a very nice meeting, and I put it in my tracker, and I went, damn. Depressed the hell out of me. But today's a new day. And then Wearables 3.0 is Kenneth Smith, as he likes to be called, at Stanford University, of course, sees Wearable 3.0 as the things that are not reading the activities on the outside, but what's going on the inside. Okay. From inflammation to, diabetes to hydration. There's a new product coming on the market, by the way, which is a ring. And the ring is, if you're a runner, and you can wear the ring, and it will actually tell you if you're dehydrated. You can stop, get a little water, and continue, But these are the things that actually now will enable us to become extremely focused and personalized in the solutions that we offer. So one of the things that I ask is, are we going to become pattern trackers? And what we're looking for is changes in patterns, because that's when we see the start of issues that are about to arise. And with that, where do we fit into the healthcare system as far as all of that goes? And that's a completely different presentation. But then you add to all of this artificial intelligence, and where do we come in? We have this telling you that your diabetes is doing this, and then the artificial intelligence telling you what to do. So where do we play into this? Can any of you raise your hand if you're a human? No? No human? Alien? No? Okay. The point being is that's what that isn't, especially with an older population. If any of you have young kids, do any of them really like to go up and order? Or do they say, Dad, can you go up and order instead? I can't text my order here. They need to learn how to interact. Well, this segment has grown up and interacting, and you, no matter about the technology, you were always key to how they're going to get their result, okay? So look at the technology if you aren't, because it's going to completely change our field where it's going to become much, much more prescriptive. The other part of all of that is who are you going to need to work with to understand some of the prescriptive data, especially as we get into the role of genomics. We had a session last year at our conference that we've done for 16 years, and I asked in the room, how many of you are working in the area of genomics right now? Of course, you're all scientists, right? And 2 hands came up out of 800. 2. So we're at the very starting phase. But this is where things are going. So become versed in this if you are not going to, or if you're going to stay in this business for a long time, start educating yourself now. You may not become a scientist, but you may need to work with someone that is to offer you prescriptive recommendations. It's happening already around nutrition. The university where I live is actually working on how genomics will impact the way we exercise. And I'm keeping a really close eye on it because I think it's going to be fascinating. You know, if you're a soccer player, as an example, and you are more susceptible to tearing your hamstrings, your whole training routine may be different. And once you've torn it, it may be different because you're more susceptible. So think technology 10 years ago, and then think where we will be 10 years from now. There are a lot of tools out there. This is one of them that will analyze up to 30 different biomarkers. And you may be saying to yourself, this is too whacked out, man. I'm not going down that path. Remember, I told you, only one of these may apply to you. But the reality is, it's here, and it's going to do nothing but speed up and speed up and speed up. So, how will personalized solutions actually impact your business? Will people start coming in and asking you for these? If you're not doing them, will you miss the opportunity? It's just something to think about. And what will you have to learn, and who will you have to work with? And will personal training seminars and webinars and conferences like this actually begin to build all of that into it? These are all questions that we need to explore. And that's why it's moving us in an area of specialization. Now, I know many of you, how many of you specialize in a specific thing? Let me ask, Parkinson's. Anyone here specialize in Parkinson's disease? All right. Anyone here specialize in cognitive health? Excellent. Anyone specialize in drinking? All right. Very healthy group. Only 4 or 5 hands went up. I can tell you that's fibbing. Anyway, here are just 2 areas to specialize in. You guys know this, and that is chronic issues and performance. Okay? 92% of the people have a chronic health issue. Looking for solutions. You are the solution. And individuals that are older doesn't mean that they don't want to perform at a high level. Just look at the National Senior Games. So what can you do around this? One area is cognitive health. I'll give you 2 examples. Cognitive health. How many of you remembered yesterday? Oh, some of you need help right now. Okay. Cognitive health is the burning issue with most older adults. You know, if we lose our physical health, I can come see you and get it back. If we lose our cognitive health, not so much. So trying to reduce the risk factors is crucial, especially as you get older. And, you know, I thought I was beginning to lose my cognitive abilities when I got married. You know, not that I forgot who I got married to. I remember that. But every time I would walk in, you know, I'd put my keys down, I would walk somewhere else, and I'd come back, and the keys were gone. It took a little while, but I realized my wife really liked a clean place. And she took the keys and put it in the drawer. Okay? That is a different forgetfulness as opposed to losing your cognitive abilities. So, you know, this appeared in the Lancet in 2017, and it basically is our journey through life and where the risk factors actually come in, and what are 9 modifiable risk factors. 35% of dementia cases can actually be delayed or prevented through these lifestyle changes. Okay? And I'm just going to read them because I know you can't see them up there. And that is, you know, starting with, you know, being educated. Makes a big difference. That way you understand some of the lifestyle changes that you need. You know, you're also looking at high blood pressure, obesity, hearing loss in midlife. Especially for boomers who basically cranked the heck out of the music thinking it was great, walking along the beach with one of these big beat boxes right beside your ear. Boom, boom, boom. It's happening again. What's wrong with us? Anyway, and depression, we'll talk about that. Diabetes, physical inactivity, smoking, and a big, big thing as you get older, and that is low social contact. So if you can minimize these for your customers, especially aging is a life course event. It's not something that you wake up at 50 and you go, I'm aging. 65, I'm old. Far from it, okay? Most of it's up here until things change. So, what are some of the opportunities here? Well, you can focus on cognitive health. What do each and every one of you do in this room? Come on, starts with an E. Exercise. Exercise is probably one of the best things that you can do, if not the best thing that you can do to reduce the risk factors. So you are working on people's cognitive health right off the bat, okay? But there are opportunities out there to connect with people like Rush University with the Mind Diet. Do you bring that to your customers, especially the ones that are saying, I'm beginning to forget stuff? That's normal. It's how you forget it that changes things. Mental health, we'll talk about that. Nature, just going outside is a good thing. 5-10 minutes changes your whole attitude in the green. Now, 5-10 minutes in the asphalt, maybe not so much, okay? Stress management, relaxation techniques, mindfulness, positive thinking, all of these things make a big difference. How many of you are really thinking, I'm not so much grooving on getting older? That's okay. Put your hands up. I know it. Come on, there's got to be more. Oh, okay, you're not grooving and okay, I want to tell you, you're going to die early. Well, maybe not. 7.6 years. Negative thinking about the way you age will actually take off your life. So if you have someone that's a negative thinker that you're working with, trying to help them become more positive. If someone's always griping and bitching and complaining, try and change that. And if you can't, realize that you won't have to listen to it for 7.6 years more, okay? There is a bonus in all of that. So, here's one group that is addressing the cognitive challenge, and this is a group out of Europe that is working with Google to create this program called Bike Around. You may want to check it out. It's a $14,000 product. But what it is, it's used mostly for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. If you were working in a senior living community or senior center, any of those kinds of facilities. But somebody sits there and actually they get to bike through where they grew up. And it stirs back memories for these individuals, and it's an amazing video. It's on YouTube, but you see interesting products coming out to try and help address, and if you can't change things, how do you make things palatable and better? Okay. Here's a group that actually, in Canada, funny enough, that has launched a Memory and Company Health Club. This is a health club for people with memory loss. Okay? Everything from, they provide dining services, to games, to fitness, to you name it, all supervised. But once again, it's just looking at the positive aspect as opposed to, okay, you need to go to a memory care unit. Well, maybe you go to a memory health club. How wonderful. Ta-da! You don't want to try and spin things too positively, but you also want to look at it through real eyes, okay? And the real opportunity here is things like VR that people are using just like, the bike. The problem is that some of the VR is a little bit shaky and actually can have a negative response, so you want to really do your homework. But, and you'll see I show virtual reality because it is something that I believe is going to be transformative if you use it well. It's not just something you toss on and go, oh, here I am. Okay? So, how can you specialize in a specific area. That's just one area, brain health, and all the different things that you can do, and the education that's needed around that. Here's a very, very simple opportunity for those of you that are looking at it, and that's around Parkinson's. You have groups like the Ohio State or Ohio Health's Delay the Disease program, fantastic program. You have rock steady boxing. And then some of the research, has shown the benefits of cycling programs, dancing, all of these different things that can help people. You get someone that hops off the bike, and it's like, Now, that only lasts for so long, but a friend of mine actually owns a cycling company and has Parkinson's, and his whole deal is on the bike all the time. He's a very fit man. Number 5, socialization. Look at the person next to you. Look in their eyes. See if you want to meet them. No. Okay. It's something that we actually forget to do a lot nowadays, is connect with people. We're so busy in technology, and we have these wonderful little things that, I can FaceTime people, I can go on Facebook, I can do all these different things, but connecting one-on-one or as a group is crucial. So, when we look at where the issues are, we know that social isolation, we know that loneliness and living alone is the equivalent to I think it's 12 or 15 cigarettes a day, obesity, the list goes on and on. It's a huge issue that a lot of times we don't think about because we think everybody connects, but they don't. We wish they would, but they don't. About 42.6 million Americans over the age of 45 suffer chronic loneliness, ongoing loneliness. One of the great things now is that, for older adults, there are all these dating sites. And, I don't know if you've seen the ad about the older guy going out, his third date, and his son puts a condom in his pocket. The reality is we're also still having sex. Some of us propped up by a pill, some of us not. Okay? But the reality is connection matters all the way around. Okay, 15 cigarettes a day. So, with all of that said, we have an issue. 89% of people actually believe that you're more likely to be lonely now than ever in the past. Okay? Problem, solution. The solution is building connections. I'll give you an example. This is a model in Japan where people are in the park doing Tai Chi. And as they're doing Tai Chi, they incentivize them at the end of the Tai Chi class to meet their peers and to connect. And if they do, they get a little stamp. And at the end of, I think it's like 10 sessions, they can turn that in for a can of food. One of the reasons why the Ministry of Health is doing this is because, of course, they have an immigration issue and they have a caregiving issue, and they figured that who's more likely to take care of you than your neighbor if you don't have enough people that are coming in to absorb those kinds of jobs? So, they're using that as their strategy to try and fight loneliness and social connections. So what can you do? Well, we do it already. Can anyone remember the word group? Group exercise. Wonderful connections, but it doesn't have to be around exercise. Taking people out, trips, all this stuff, and you don't have to do it. You just connect the people that you were training with, that they can form a club and they do things. And now, that's just really basic stuff, but the problem is that, 43% of us are going to experience some kind of social isolation, and we need solutions. Think of what those solutions are. There are many of them out there, okay? So how do you create these social connections at your facility or within your practice? That term always bothers me, practice. It's kind of like, I'm not good at this because I keep practicing. I go to a doctor's practice and say, you're practicing on me? It just kind of comes to my mind. Lots of weird things come to my mind, don't worry. Number 6, it's about everything that we do. And we know this today. It's not about just exercise. It's not just about nutrition. It's not just about stress management. It's about everything. So looking at everything that we do, okay? And that's where moving from just a fitness model to more of a wellness model becomes a crucial element in achieving that. And why? Because wellness offers you a multidimensional model that is person-centered. And remember, boomers, it's about, okay, let's try it again. Me. Let's wake up now. Me. One more time. Me. I love you down here. It's like, me. Okay, so if it's all about you, wellness is helping you to make the decisions to be a better you, to connect with yourself in different ways, okay? To have a successful existence. Now, how many of you offer wellness solutions within your facilities or within what you do? Okay, so few of you. Well, let's expand that a little bit, okay? It's moving from a different, or it's moving how you view things into a different light, Instead of the diseases that we're working with and what causes diseases, it's about what causes health. What can we actually do to improve our health? It's about reaching our potential. It's about all of these different things. And it also happens to be a $3.7 trillion opportunity. So for those of you that want to follow the breadcrumbs or the dollars, it's a massive opportunity depending how you want to get into it. So I'm going to give you, and it's a 7-dimensional model that we use at the International Council in Active Aging. The physical, the emotional, the intellectual, the vocational, the spiritual, the social. Anyone know the last one? That's okay, I forget it as well. Remember, we were talking about cognitive loss. So, looking at the emotional side of wellness, mental health, in only 2 years, according to the World Health Organization, the number 2 cause of premature death and disability will be depression. Do you have a program to fight depression? We have all this equipment to help us with cardiovascular health, but what about depression? Well, number 1, again, starts with an E. Oh man, I would never have been good as God. Okay, an E. Okay. Now you know what it's like when you do it to your students. They're going, damn, stop it. So what's your strategy around mental health? Okay, well, starts with helping people to find life balance. So what are the causes? And how do they actually find balance in what they do? Now, we talked about cognitive health. Depression actually speeds up cognitive aging, okay? So you get 2 birds with one. This is your bonus round, okay? If you actually address depression, you can reduce the risk factors with cognition, loss of cognition, okay? Things like mindfulness, exercise, socialization, connecting with others, fun, being happy, Depression runs in my family. My great-grandfather blew his brains out. My father's father drank himself to death. My dad, thankfully, did none of those. And me, well, this is my way of dealing with it, okay? I get such euphoria being in front of you. Other people deal with it, the euphoria that they get from exercise, okay? So how can you help people manage their mental health? That is a massive opportunity. Remember, number 2 leading cause of premature death and disability. All the effort into cardio. What about this? Number 7, women. Who doesn't like women?
I prefer men.
You prefer men? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I actually haven't heard that one before. That's good. I'm liking you more and more. Okay, so women, especially older women, here's your opportunity, and that is older women actually account for 3/4 of the wealth in the country. I know I see this lady over there going, right on, okay? Actually, you're expected to inherit 70% of the wealth transfer from your family. And then what happens? Your husband normally maybe kicks off a little early based on the numbers. That's just reality. So, oh, hang on, I thought that was me. So what you have in front of you is somebody that has means. Not all women, though. You know, sometimes we try and create this beautiful picture. The reality is that women are also have the greatest poverty levels as well. Same with health. You know, so you know, everything is all relative. I always look at things and go, stay in the middle. Stay in the middle. All the exciting stuff you hear, stay in the middle. So, what's your strategy for working with older women? Well, I know if I was a gigolo what my strategy would be, but, you know, I am not, contrary to popular belief. So, here's something to think about. If you have a facility, is this appealing to a 60, 70, 80-year-old woman? Maybe this is a little bit more appealing, okay? How would you change your facility? How would you change what you do? You don't want to pink things up. You don't want to, you know, be condescending. You want to find out what your customer wants. It's a little secret that oftentimes gets us in trouble, and that is we forget to ask. You know, have you ever been in a relationship that you actually forgot to ask your spouse, what do you like? After a little while. So, how can you actually serve the older woman? Huge, huge opportunity, you know, especially from the social aspect. Number 8, technology. We all know that, you know, matter of fact, some of you have computers out, some of you have phones. We're living in a technological world, but depending on what segment you're working with, they may be more prone to using technology or not. Find out. You know, but let me give you an example of one of the uses that you're seeing more and more of, and that is that this came out of my hometown, Vancouver. You know, this researcher, 30 minutes of exercise, oh, wonderful, but we really need 1 to 2 hours of physical activity a day. Okay? But are we getting it? Physical activity, not exercise, physical activity. Most of us are sitting. We sit in a car to get to work. We sit at a table to eat our breakfast. We sit at the office desk. We sit when we get home to eat. We sit and watch TV. And because of that, we have a challenge. We take a very small percentage and say, hey, let's go exercise. It's not enough. Okay? So Stanford University is proposing a new 24-hour model, and of course technology needs to come in to track all of that to help us get our results. You know, why? Because the 30 minutes just isn't enough, okay? Their vision is that you focus on everything and not just exercise. Now, I'm not telling you something that or I'm telling you something you should know, but you'll start seeing more and more of this and more people coming in. So what are the technological opportunities for you? Well, it really breaks down into 3 areas as far as active aging goes. Safety and smart living, health devices, you know, like the smart patches, or you know, technologies that can improve your wellness. There's actually a watch that you can put on that will tell you whether you are stressed out or not. You know, and then with that, what you can do about it. It's all about what you can do. Technology is just simply a tool, but artificial intelligence coming into this, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because technology is, once again, it's a whole different topic area, but here's where the spend is. And that is medication management, aging with vitality, vital signs, monitoring, care navigation, behavior. Behavior change is what everything is about. Social engagement, diet and nutrition, and physical fitness. Okay, this is where the technology and the opportunities are. So, but this is a technology that I think you need to be aware of. How many of you were excited about the phone when it first came out? A little apprehensive, the first one, the big, huge block that you could kind of take in a bar and knock somebody out with. Okay? And then all of a sudden, the iPhone came out. And it was wonderful, and it changed everything. Well, to me, one of the areas of technology development that is set to actually change what we do is this. Is this your competitor? Can anybody tell me what this is? Otherwise, in something very fashionable. This is a scaled-down version of an exoskeleton. An exoskeleton that is used in war, in the workplace, to help you actually accomplish tasks. Each of those little hexagons are filled with power so that if you actually are seated and you can't get the power to get up, it will actually kick in, okay? So think about it when, at some stage in the future, those hexagons are gone and it's all just clothing. Will I need you? Or will my clothes take me where I need to go? The reality is I will always need you because what's within those clothes atrophies if I don't have you, okay? But for some people, this will be your competitor. Just think about that for a minute. And then 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if we run into each other and you're wearing one of these, just go, it was a great thing. I'll go through the next two rather quickly. 85 and up. Well, anybody in here working with individuals over the age of 85? Excellent. Normally, I ask that question, people give me this real puzzled look like, why the hell would I want to do that? Seriously. But it's excellent. And here's some of the very basic numbers for those of you that aren't, and that is it's the fastest growing segment to the population. It will more than double at 6.4 million right now. It will double to 14.6 million by the year 2040. Here's a few things that I would like you to think about as you look at this segment of the population, and that is that 42% of those that are born in 1933 turn 85 this year. 42%. Now, these individuals have surpassed their life expectancy by 23.3 years for men and 19.6 or 19.9 for women. Surpassed it. Now, my life expectancy at birth, 67. If I happen to be as fortunate as these individuals, and I surpass my life expectancy by 23.3 years, I will be 90 years old. Okay? 42%. So when we look at the population that we're serving, it's really something to think about. And they can expect, on average, to actually live another 6 years, on average. Okay? Now, a lot of people look at this picture and say, that's about 85, they're beginning to get frailer, but we know that that's not true. Only 72% of this population have no need for any form of care. So there's a massive opportunity there. These are 5 terms that you need to know to work with this group if you haven't already figured it out. And they're all fancy terms from researchers and that is socio-emotional selectivity. Can anyone tell me what that is? And I'm going to barrel along here because, I am now at my time. Can anyone tell me what this is? Okay, what this is from Laura Carstensen at Stanford University, and it says that once we get to a certain age, we start to look at the horizon as much, much closer. It's not about in the future as when you're young and you think you're invincible. So the programs and services that we deliver need to be about the now. It needs to focus on how can you excite and delight me now, not about, if you do this 20 years from now, you're going to be X, okay? So number one. Number two is selective optimization and compensation. I know my issues, okay? I want to optimize those. But I also want to compensate for them so I can live the best life I can. So how can you help me do that? Positivity effect, a lot of times you may be going, why are you so happy? Damn. It's because I know where I've come from, I know where I am, and my experience tells me, even though CNN or Fox or any of these things can depress the hell out of me, I really shouldn't be. Okay? And you're dealing with people who are actually, at the height of their happiness. Interdependence versus independence. We keep telling people this is all about being independent, but at this stage, interdependence and connecting with others is massive. So many of our friends have died, moved away, so forth. So how do you connect them again? And retrograde analysis. This is something, if you haven't done it, use with your clients, and that is, here we are today, 2018. What do you want a good life to be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 1 year from now? And what do we have to do to get there? And what do we have to invest to get there? Okay? So using those as a very basic framework to understand a little bit about who you're working with. There's so many things. And you will learn, you won't just be the teacher, you will also be the student. And number 10, career opportunities. There's nothing after this, by the way. It's all there. It's the world. It's the globe, as Cody said. The world is aging. There's 1.6 billion people over the age of 50. What is that? That's an opportunity. Question is, how do you embrace it? Every single segment of the population or every single segment of society is being impacted. So as far as career opportunities go, whether it's working in senior living, whether it's working in hospital wellness, whether it's developing your own business, the opportunity is in front of you. The question is, what do you do with it? And where do you want to go? The first thing I would do is become a student of this population. Eradicate misperceptions and ageism because they stand in your way. So to wrap up, today we've actually talked about the 10 transformative trends. Is there one of those that could transform what you're doing? It's not about exercise, it's about the opportunity. So the reality is, now what? Well, that now what is in your hands. Where do you take it? What do you do with it? What is that one thing that could transform your business? As Joe Coughlin says, the opportunity and the time is now. How you embrace it is up to you. So thank you very much.